Hey, good afternoon. And how are those New Year's resolutions coming along? Well, depending on where you're at, that might just seem like a harsh opening question. Here's a thought, though, that just might change your course of direction. Instead of working on goals, how about working on change? There is a difference. Our first guest believes women have to get real and truly know themselves before they commit to making any improvement. Studio 5 contributor Connie Sokol is a wife, mother, author, and popular speaker who has unlocked 5 secrets to help you jumpstart change. I just confessed to you, I'm a horrible goal setter.
I know, and then I said, horrible, because you get so much done naturally. Like, we all would love that. That's amazing.
That's the nice friend answer. You're passionate about this, though, that women really need to approach change the right way.
Yes, because goals can be so overwhelming, and I think it makes us feel like that cringe. You know, I've got to set a goal. Now I've got to put energy to it, and now I've got to succeed in something, and I always fail. So I think it just becomes a negative.
There's a big question you say all women need to ask themselves before they set any goal, and that is why. Why?
Because until you get to the core of why you're doing a goal, it just will not have the staying power. So if you write lose 20 pounds, you know, by week 2 or 3, you're going to hit the 2-week bomb, and you're going to be by the freezer with the Ben & Jerry's, because it just does not have, there's nothing behind it. But if you write something like lose 20 pounds to lower my diabetes risk, now you're talking about your health, your quality of life, or lose 20 pounds for an anniversary cruise. Now you're talking about something that's fun, it's a clear motivation, and then now you have like something you can visualize. And they did this recent 20-year study that showed that when you have something meaningful as far as a goal, your mind kind of sees it like an image, and then it starts to resonate kind of on a cellular level, like physical and emotional and mental, and then your mind starts looking for ways to make that goal happen. So the why is just huge.
And as I started to think about this, me, the self-proclaimed horrible goal setter, I started to wonder, do women set empty goals?
I do. I think they do. And I think what happens is instead of tethering it to something that's purposeful, like a life vision, they just throw these things up on the wall like I did in college, and I had 40 goals around my room. I was going to learn 3 different languages. You know, then we just are overwhelmed by it. So tether it to a life vision. I've talked a lot about a life plan here, but it's really brainstorming what matters most to you. You know, who do you want to become? Who matters most to you? And are you doing it? And when you take that kind of funnel it down, the goals just naturally start popping out, and you see, oh, I really do know what I want. And it takes that why and puts it in your big picture, and now you've got that purpose behind whatever goals you do set.
So let's take the most common goal. You mentioned it just a few minutes ago, lose 20 pounds, for example. How would that tether to a life vision? Losing weight sounds so, I don't want to say temporal, but I mean it's in the here and now. A life vision feels so big and so all perspective. How do you tie those two together?
Well, once you get that kind of clear vision of what's my ideal life, what do I see myself if I'm living a day in my ideal life? What do I look like? What am I doing? Who am I talking to? Who am I with? Then you start to visualize that in your mind. You say, you know what? I do want to lose weight because I want to go scuba diving, and I want to be around for my kids, and I want to go play with them at the park, and I want to go on these, I want to start doing these half-mile, you know, running things, and let's do it. Let's do this together. And suddenly now the goals start to get juicy. Now you start saying, okay, I can do this in chewable chunks. I can make this happen. And what's so important in setting a juicy goal is that you make it in a language that works for you. You know, and I've read goal setting books, and I bought into this myself. I will work out for, you know, 25 minutes 3 times a week, blah, blah, blah.
The self-declaration.
Yes, and it's great, and you can do that, and I have, but put it in your own fun language. I can't wait to carve out 1 hour a day to write a book. You know, the exclamation mark, cute little doily, you know, suddenly you're like, oh yeah, and that's what Joseph Heller did. He wrote the best-selling Catch-22, and he wrote it in 1 hour a day, because sometimes we go, big life vision, here's my goal, I don't know how to get there, but chewable chunks, those little bits.
Well, I love the phrase, I would call this Connieism, juicy goals.
Yes.
Juicy goals, like you said, the exclamation points, goals that will make us want to jump out of our chair and start working at it. However, you say you can do that in those chewable chunks. In fact, 15 minutes is all you need.
Yes, and do not underestimate the power of that. A 15-minute nap, a 15-minute of workout. I'm having to do that right now, and it is utterly hilarious. I'm doing these big lunges in the hallway when the kids are getting ready for school, and Tom's the tank engine. I'm doing my sit-ups while I'm playing with him on the floor with the Tom's the tank engine, you know, and squats while I'm doing the cream of wheat or curling my daughter's hair.
You are not doing squats when you're curling hair.
I am, and it's bad. I wouldn't really recommend it. Well, the joke in our house is, what injury did you get from mom curling your hair today?
No.
Right over here by the eyebrow. But be careful, you know, doctor's order. But those kind of 15-minute chunks, we just don't put a lot of stock in it, but it moves you forward and moves you forward, and then you start that flywheel, and then it just starts building, and it works.
Now, you're an author, you're a speaker, so you are used to thinking on and working toward deadlines. Do you feel like the average woman, the average mom at home needs to set herself some sort of a deadline?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of the milestones for us come from our children or things that are happening with them. It's so important for us to see an end and see something like a dangling carrot or something to work towards, some kind of a doable deadline. I know I have a writing group, and there's a writing conference that comes once a year, and so we've all just set our goals of what we want to do for there. And even though it's at a snail's pace, it's still, there's a deadline. My son, I have a teenage son that actually loves to write, and he's got a great imagination. He's getting some great tools, but you know, he's a teenager. He doesn't want to spend his time writing.
Right.
But there's a writing conference, and he just went on, saw the first chapter contest deadline, said, ooh, I better get on that. Hasn't been writing at all, had 6 pages by the next day. So a doable deadline, huge.
How important is it, or how often, I should ask, how often should we evaluate that progress, that check-in to see how we're doing and where we're at along the way?
I say the same as you weigh, once a week, because, and if you even want to do that with the weight, but once a week, because it keeps you in check. And if you can do 3 simple questions, I've used what worked, what didn't work, what will I do differently? Huge, fabulous. It's very simple, but you tweak. And Malcolm Caldwell, who wrote Blink, he talked about the 10,000 hours, and he said, like with Michael Jordan, he said it wasn't that he practiced for 10,000 hours, it's that he adjusted constantly, and then he practiced better. So that's what makes you at that expertise level. And so if we just practice better, we'll not only love goal setting, but we'll be able to choose and become and achieve what we want.
I've noticed you often share your goals with your readers, your subscribers through your newsletter. Is that too? I have to think that's probably to engage in some sort of accountability a little bit.
Yes, and accountability is so huge. Even if it's just a text from a friend once a week that says, hey, how did that go? And it's a friend you know will love you, but still keeps you motivated. It's so important. I did this fitness challenge last June and July, which is the worst possible time, except maybe December, to do a fitness challenge. And I started it, and thank goodness I thought, I'll blog it, which I didn't want to do. But I blogged it, and then by week 2, I hit the 2-week bomb. I was so sleep deprived, and I thought, I'm caving, I'm done. And then I knew there were women who were following it, and they were responding to me, and I'm like, and there's the why. And I said, I can do this. And I did. And so I hit the goal that I wanted, and I was like, thank you for being my accountability. And that's where it comes in.
And you're a big believer in rewards, the reward system. We implement it with our children, so we might as well implement it with ourselves too, right?
We are so sticker women. We really are, even if we don't admit it. We love some kind of something. And the reason why is because we're not just setting a goal. We're actually changing these neural pathways, the way we approach or think about goal setting. So when you give yourself a little positive serotonin endorphin hit, suddenly you start thinking, this is fun, this is great. So small, medium, large. Small, read a book, take a bath. Medium, take a class, buy an outfit. Large, travel, get a hobby group. Do something that gets that endorphin hit, and you'll find yourself being in this groove of, I am enjoying these goals.
Well, if you're looking for a lift or inspiration, you are offering a fun companion freebie to the purchase of your book, Faithful, Fit, and Fabulous.
Yes, if you buy Faithful, Fit, and Fabulous, and it's so super fabulous, we're donating all the proceeds from that, the profits, to LDS Missionary Fund. If you purchase that, we'll give you a free 30-minute download of Create a Life Plan, and this will help you get some ideas on just exactly what I've been talking about.
I feel motivated. I feel like I might be able to set a goal and actually accomplish it after this conversation. We'll see. Connie, thank you. All right.